Hunger Games is a really good movie. It has a good script, it has a good story, and I really liked watching it. So this is one of the movies that I haven't actually read the book for, and I know I will read the book in the end because I've heard it's awesome, but I wanted to go in there with a clear mind and not actually know what's going to happen so that I can see if I actually understand it, as opposed to someone who has read the books. Now, bearing in mind that I haven't read the books, I thought that it all made sense, so there weren't any loopholes that I thought, well, they probably missed something out in the book because they didn't have time to put it in the movie. And I also thought that the development between Katniss and Peter's relationship wasn't unnatural, so that's probably because of good writing in the book, but it's not like just they're suddenly in love. However, I can't say if it was a good adaptation or not because I haven't read the books, so the characters from page to screen may be wildly different from what people imagined, but from what I've heard they're not. So you'll have to make up your own mind about that. In fact, there are only a couple of things which I thought that could have been slightly more developed or I didn't particularly like, but none of them were disastrously horrible. Firstly, I liked the way that Effie and Haymitch provided a little bit of banterous comic relief for the audience, but I thought that they didn't use them enough because they had a really nice relationship and I thought they could have used them more. And also I thought that Effie wasn't very clear what her purpose was, except, you know, to teach them etiquette and whatnot. But she wasn't used as much as I would have liked to see her used, and although I don't know if she has a bigger role in the books, I think that the movie would have benefited from a bit more of Effie and Haymitch. Secondly, I think that the role that Lenny Kravitz plays as Cinna wasn't very well done. The dialogue was giving him this whole idea of being very passionate about these two tributes and about really wanting Katniss to win and trying to help her, but his face didn't really show that. Thirdly, and I feel most annoyingly, were the camera movements. And by camera movements I mean this sort of Blair Witch Project, Cloverfield type of jolty camera work, which is just really headache-inducing and annoying. Now, I understand that for some directors that is their style, that is how they film. However, Gary Ross doesn't seem to be that type of director because he had these still shots and he had this jolty camera work in the action sequences mostly. And I have a theory behind why he did that. In fact, I'm going to draw upon my beautiful Total Film magazine here, which actually has a picture of Katniss right in there. But anyways, in it there is an article about the Hunger Games, and Jennifer Lawrence herself says, and I quote, "There's blood, death, stabbings, spears and arrows going into people," promises Lawrence, "but you can have the impact of violence without being gory." And that pretty much sums up my theory. I think that that jolty camera work was in order to get that PG-13 or 12A whatever rating by not showing that gory violence, by simply blurring through it. But not only was it annoying, but it sort of removed the impact. The movie is already powerful. I mean, the story of these kids being sent off to die in an arena of death is pretty hard stuff to contemplate. I could have walked out of the cinema questioning life itself, but I didn't, unfortunately. The basic problem of the movie is that it wasn't developed enough. It wasn't pushed further. It could have been bumped up a notch, which would have made it spectacular as opposed to just awesome. Cinna could have been more passionate. The camera could have stopped moving for a bit so that the audience could actually appreciate the level at which these kids are willing to go. They even could have given us a bit more information about the history of the district. But I think it was just this whole idea that they needed to get this rating to get more viewers so that the violence was dumbed down. However, all the stuff I haven't mentioned, the setting, the crowds of people dressed in these bright colours, the acting of the main characters was really good. All in all, as it is, the movie will not disappoint.